Shalom, my Hebrews and Shebrews. Welcome to our daily bread. Today, number 18, A Nation Under Siege. Um, Today's reading will be Genesis 18, Matthew 18, Psalm 19, and Proverbs chapter 3. As per, today is the 3rd. I'm going to just read today. I'm having an issue going over about 15-20 minutes and my phone just shutting off. I don't know. I'm going to have to go through it and see what's going on again. This happened a couple months ago. Same thing. I couldn't get videos to post. It's quite frustrating, honestly. Um, anyway, um, just keep your head on a swivel, y'all. There's a lot going on right now. I'm going to try to make a video here in a little while of some takeaway points and some things that we do know and things that we don't really know. And what do we do with all the information we do have? So, and that will be a Cruising with Jesus video. So, with that said, let's read Genesis chapter 18, verse 1. It says, let me flip you around. A little off my game this morning. We got 7 windmills, and one is not a working. Genesis 18, verse 1 says, and Yahweh appeared to him by the terebinth trees of Mamre, while he was sitting in the tent door in the heat of the day. Now he is Abraham. He lifted his eyes and looked and saw 3 men standing opposite him. And when he saw them, he ran from the tent door to meet them and bowed himself to the ground and said, Yahweh, if I have found favor in your eyes, please do not pass your servant by. Please let a little water be brought and wash your feet and rest yourselves under the tree. And let me bring a piece of bread and refresh your hearts, and then go on. For this is why you have come to your servant. And they said, do as you have said. So Abraham ran to the tent to Sarah and said, hurry, make ready these measures of fine flour, knead it, and make cakes. And Abraham ran to the herd, took a tender and good calf, gave it to a young man, and hurried to prepare it. And he took curds and milk, and the calf which he had prepared, and set it before them, and he stood by them under the tree as they ate. This reminds me of reading the account. Which one is it? Gideon? Gideon. Yeah, I believe it's Gideon. That the angel stands under the terebinth tree, uh, and he prepares an offering for the angel of the Lord, which, upon further study, that angel of the Lord winds up being Yeshua. Anyway, but I digress. And he took curds of milk and the calf which he had prepared and set it before them, and he stood by them under the tree as they ate. And they said to him, where is Sarah, your wife? And he said, see, in the tent. And he said, I shall certainly return to you according to the time of life. And see, Sarah, your wife, is to have a son. And Sarah was listening in the tent door which was behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were old, well advanced in age, and Sarah was past the way of women. Remember yesterday, Abraham fell on the floor laughing. And Sarah laughed within herself, saying, after I have grown old, shall I have pleasure, my master, being old too? And Yahweh said to Abraham, Why did Sarah laugh, saying, shall I truly have a child since I'm old? Is any matter too hard for Yahweh? At the appointed time I'm going to return to you, according to the time of life, and Sarah is to have a son. You think Yahweh asked Abraham why Sarah was laughing because he didn't know the answer? I don't think so. It's more of a rhetorical question. Um, it's like, Better straighten your woman out here. Oh, I just offended half of YouTube just now. But Sarah denied it, saying, I did not laugh, for she was afraid. And he said, No, but you did laugh. Yeah, I can just see two old people sitting there arguing here. Um, Two people that have been married for a long time. But I digress. Let's read on. And the men rose up from there and looked toward Sodom, and Abraham went with them to send them away. And Yahweh said, Shall I hide from Abraham what I'm doing? Since Abraham is certainly going to become a great mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. For I have known him, so that he commands his children and his household after him to guard the way of Yahweh, to do righteousness and right ruling, so that Yahweh brings to Abraham what he has spoken to him. And Yahweh said, Because the outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very heavy, I am going down now to see whether they have done altogether according to the outcry against that has come to me. And if not, I know. So the men turned away from there and went toward Sodom. But Yahweh still stood before Abraham. And Abraham drew near and said, Would you destroy the righteous with the wrong? Suppose there are 50 righteous within the city. Would you also destroy the place and not spare it for the 50 righteous that were in it? Far be it from you to act in this way, to slay the righteous with the wrong. So the righteous should be as the wrong. Far be it from you. Does the judge of all the earth not do right? And Yahweh said, If I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, I'll spare all for the place of their sakes. And Abraham answered and said, Look, please, I am but dust and ashes. I, I who am but dust and ashes have taken it upon myself to speak to Yahweh. There are 5 less than the 50 righteous, and you destroy all the city for the lack of 5? And he said, If I find 45, I do not destroy it. And he spoke to him yet again and said, Suppose there are only 40 found. And he said, I would not do it for the sake of 40. And he said, Let not Yahweh be displeased, and let me speak. Suppose there are only 30 found. And he said, I would not do it if I find 30. And he said, Look, please, I have taken it upon myself to speak to Yahweh. Suppose there are found 20. And he said, I would not destroy it for the sake of 20. And he said, Let not Yahweh be displeased, and let me speak only this time. Suppose there are only 10 found. And he said, I would not destroy it for the sake of 10. Then Yahweh went away as soon as he had ended speaking to Abraham, and Abraham returned to his place. It's a very interesting conversation that Abraham has with Yahweh right there. One that warrants a study. Go look at that one. Check that one out, because there's a lot there. And again, back to Gideon. Psalms chapter 18, or Psalms chapter 19. Tehillim. Come on now. Psalms 19. The heavens are proclaiming the esteem of El, and the expanse is declaring the work of his hand. Day to day pours forth speech, and night to night reveals knowledge. There is no speech, and there are no words. Their voice is not heard. Their line has gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them he set up a tent for the sun, and it is like a bridegroom coming out of his room. It rejoices like a strong man to run the path. Its rising is from one end of the heavens, and its circuit to the other, and naught is hidden from its heat. The Torah of Yahweh is perfect, bringing back the being. The witness of Yahweh is trustworthy, making wise the simple. The orders of Yahweh are straight, rejoicing the heart, and the command of Yahweh is clear, enlightening the eyes. The fear of Yahweh is clean, standing forever. The right rulings of Yahweh are true, they are righteous altogether. More desirable than gold, than much fine gold, and sweeter than honey in the honeycomb. Also your servant is warned by them. In guarding them there is great reward. Who discerns mistakes? Who discerns mistakes? Declare me innocent from those who are secret. Also keep your servant back from the presumptuous ones. Do not let them rule over me. Then shall I be perfect and innocent of great transgression. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be pleasing before you, O Yahweh, my rock and my redeemer. Proverbs 3, verse 1 says, My son, do not forget my Torah, and let your heart watch over my commands. For length of days and long life and peace they add to you. Let not loving commitment and truth forsake you. Bind them around your neck. Write them on the tablet of your heart, thus finding favor and good insight in the eyes of Elohim and man. Trust in Yahweh with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. Know him in all your ways, and he makes your path straight. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear Yahweh and turn from evil. It is healing to your navel and moistening to your bones. Esteem Yahweh with your goods, and with the firstfruits of all your increase. Then your storehouses shall be filled with plenty, and your vats overflow with new wine. My son, do not despise the discipline of Yahweh, and do not loathe his reproof. For whom Yahweh loves, he reproves, as a father, the son whom he delights in. Blessed is the man who has found wisdom, and the man who gets understanding. For the gain from it is better than gain from silver, and its increase than fine gold. We were talking about this yesterday about not forsaking being corrected. We was talking about Peter being rebuked from Yahweh, or from Yeshua. That when we get rebuked or we get corrected, we tend to get a little attitude. Let us not be that way when it comes with Yahweh. Verse 15, she is more precious than rubies, and all your delight are not comparable to her. Her is wisdom. She, precious than rubies, is knowledge and fear of Yah. Verse 16, length of days is in her right hand, riches and glory in her left. Her ways are pleasant ways, and all her paths are peace. She is a tree of life to those taking hold of her, and blessed are all who retain her. Yahweh founded the earth by wisdom. He established the heavens by understanding. By his knowledge the depths were broken up, and clouds dropped down dew. My son, let them not depart from your eyes, and watch over sound wisdom and discretion. Then they become life to your being, and an adorning to your neck. Then you would walk safely in your way, and your foot would not stumble. When you lie down, you need not be afraid, and you shall lie down, and your sleep shall be sweet. In other words, when we're walking in the ways of the Lord, when we're walking in the ways of righteousness, we sleep well at night. You ever done something wrong and it just kind of eats at you? It's kind of hard to sleep at night, isn't it? Verse 25, do not be afraid of sudden dread, nor the ruin of the wrong when it comes. For Yahweh is at your side, and he shall guard your foot from being caught. Do not withhold good from those who deserve it, when it is in the power of your hand to do so. Do not say to your neighbor, go, come back, and tomorrow I'll give it. In other words, if you got something that someone needs, don't be like the foolish man. Don't be like the evil man that says, yeah, go ahead and I'll pray for you. You know, go on your way. I'll pray for you, and not give him what he needs when you have the ability and the power to give it to them. Verse 29, do not plan evil against your neighbor, seeing he dwells safely beside you. Do not strive with a man without cause. If he has done you no evil, do not envy a cruel man, and choose none of his ways. For the perverse one is an abomination to Yahweh, and his secret counsel is with the straight. The curse of Yahweh is on the house of the wrong, but he blesses the home of the righteous. Do what God's asked you to do, and he'll bless that. Now, whether you see it in this life or in the glory to come, We get stumped up on that. We do something, we want immediate recognition. We need not be that way. Verse 34, he certainly scoffs the scoffers, but gives favor to the humble. The wise do inherit esteem, but fools are bearing away shame. In other words, those who do it their way and not Yah's way, they'll get what's coming to them. Matthew chapter 18. This should sound that chapter should sound familiar to those who walk in the ways of Yahweh, because this is how we handle our brother whenever he's doing something wrong. This is how we should be handled. This is how we should have people and men and women in our lives that will hold us accountable as well. Matthew 18, Matityahu 18:1 says, at that time the taught ones came to Yeshua, saying, who then is greatest in the reign of heavens? And Yeshua called a little one to him and set him in their midst, and said, truly I say to you, unless you turn and become as little children, you shall by no means enter the reign of heaven.